right. Okay. All right, I'm about to talk about what happened in court today in the People vs. Daystar Peterson. And everyone was expecting Kelsey Harris to continue her testimony this morning, but they took a witness out of order. And they had the doctor, Dr. Lee Haruno, Haruno. He testified about removing the bullet fragments out of Megan's feet. Okay, so let me just briefly explain what he testified about. She came in to Cedars-Sinai Hospital here in Los Angeles through the ER department, and then they took some imaging of her feet, some X-rays or some sort of imaging, and they showed 3 different photos of her feet on the projector, and those photos showed fragments in her feet. On the left foot, it showed fragments on the outside of her heel, and then she also had some fragments in her right foot. So bullet fragments went into both her feet. The left foot had more damage from the fragments than the right foot did. And the doctor talked about cleaning the injury, examining to see if there was going to be any nerve or vessel damage, which there wasn't. And yes, she definitely, I said this on day one in opening statements, that she definitely was shot. It's definitely not glass, because the defense is not challenging that. Since the opening statements, no one has challenged the idea of her getting shot. So she definitely got shot. But today was, I guess you can say, complete confirmation that there were bullet fragments in her foot. The doctor referred to them as metallic foreign bodies. Metallic foreign bodies. And he said that if they did not get removed, they could cause persistent pain. Removing these fragments from the feet is not mandatory, but it is highly recommended. And also the risk of infection and things of that sort is also a possibility. So the doctor said that he had recommended surgery to Megan, and they did the surgery and they put her under, she was under anesthesia. It wasn't a local anesthesia. It was a general anesthesia, which is pretty serious for the foot surgery that the doctor did. It wasn't super major, but she went under a general anesthesia, which means she was completely unconscious during this surgery. One of the larger injury is described as 4 centimeters on the left foot, and the smaller injury is described as 1.5 centimeters. That would be of the right foot. And in the left foot, there were 2 large fragments on the left side, and there were smaller fragments on the right side. In addition to the bigger fragments, there's a whole bunch of tiny, I don't want to say microscopic because we can see them with the naked eye, but they're super tiny, small specks of fragments that you can see in her foot in the x-ray. And the doctor said, they asked the doctor, did you remove all the little tiny ones? And I would say there's at least a dozen tiny fragments. And the doctor said, no, we weren't able to remove the tiny fragments because removing those tiny fragments would most likely do more damage. So they removed the larger fragments. And in doing so, in removing the fragments, they actually had to cut the entry holes a little bit bigger. They had to expand the actual injury to get in there and cut it out. And on the left foot, she received stitches. And after that, she was given a hospital room. After the surgery was over, the surgery took 1 hour, about 1 hour. And the healing process is 2 to 3 weeks. And she was given a room in the hospital, and she stayed overnight. So that's pretty much it. She got stitches on the right foot. She got partial stitches on the left foot but the left foot injury lost a lot of surface skin. The doctor said that some of that was going to have to heal on its own as opposed to being stitched because of the loss of surface skin. And that was everything under direct. On cross-examination, the defense attorney asked if this was the first time you ever removed bullet fragments. He said no. This doctor was actually very young. He graduated from undergrad in 2013, and then he graduated from medical school in 2018, and that's when he took a 5-year residence at Cedars-Sinai after he graduated from Baylor in 2018. So you could do the math on that, figure out his age. He graduated from Notre Dame in 2013, so that means he graduated from high school in, let's say, 2009. So somebody give me the approximate age of this doctor. The doctor's pretty young. So he graduated. He's class of 2009 for high school, so that means he was probably born in 1991. 1991 is my guess. So that would put him at 32 years old. Someone check my math on that. How old would this doctor be if he graduated from college in 2013? We're going to assume that he graduated from high school in 2000, 4 years before that, 2009. Okay, but on cross-examination, he asked the doctor, is this the first time you ever removed bullet fragments? He said, no, I've done it dozens of times. He also had the supervising doctor that was there. And he asked him, did you speak to her after the surgery? And he said, no, never spoke to her. And he asked, is there a difference between removing bullet fragments and actual bullets? And the doctor said, no, we consider them all fragments, regardless of the size, which I thought was interesting because if you have a whole slug, if you have a whole slug in your body and it's removed, I don't think it's actually, I've heard many doctors testify to this. I've never heard of an entire bullet being referred to just as a fragment. But this doctor said that removing the bullet or a fragment, there's no difference. I guess there's no difference in the process, but he did say that they're all fragments to him. And the defense attorney asked, did this injury create any nerve damage? And the doctor said no. And that was the end of the doctor's testimony. And then after that, they brought Kelsey Harris back in to resume her direct examination. So, around 31 or 32 years old. Yeah. And he's in the last year of his 5-year residency. So that's it for the shooting. What I'm going to do is I'm going to end this video, and then I'm going to jump right back on and do another video to continue with Kelsey Harris.